everyone. Let's start firstly with the disclaimer. Let's get started. This roadmap version ... 1 alpha. Let me explain firstly what do I mean under roadmap. When I saw multiple tutorial videos on the YouTube, I don't blame them. I see that there is no clear goal what exactly the content creator is doing. And most importantly, it is difficult to, for example, find a connection between the video and tutorial is created and also the application of that information for our life. My goal, or what is planned to record, is shared with you, so you will see, for example, what I am planning to do. I will also try to explain my motivation for it. We will try to be agile here. But what is the plan to be recorded? I would like to design a small application with applicable modulus to collect data. We will try to plan preliminary amount of work and what is needed in Jira. It is a great tool. Then we will write the small draft application with one module for now. Then we'll write unit tests for that module and probably for the application, because there is a quite interesting thing to show. Then we will create a Git repository because we will see the need for that. After that, we will write and configure CI pipeline to run unit tests in the CI pipeline, and we will consider so-called continuous integration part. And then once we will set up more or less all automation work, then we will extend the solution by an interface and we will add new module and make it pluggable. That's what is planned to record. So let's go to the next slide, the motivation and reasoning. Why did I decide to go with a small app with pluggable components? Well, it is an application that can illustrate a usage of CMake, plus it will have our library, it will have executable files, unit testing, it might have something more, we will see a little bit later. Why did I decide to go with Jira? Jira will help me to keep track of work done and what I am planning to do. And if we see, for example, that we made a mistake somewhere, then we will rearrange the order of the work and etc. So you will see the track of it. And also I want to explain some key topics when we are working with Jira as a developer. Then once we will write a small application, we would like to cover it with tests. Once we have some code and we have some unit tests, probably it is not a good idea to save it in different folders, and we would like to use Git instead. We will use it once we get this need for that. And once we will use the Git to store our code, we might have it locally on our machine, but also we might have it on the web. There are great tools such as GitLab, GitHub, and Gerrit for that. GitLab, it is kind of Swiss knife tool, so which has a web interface and also have pipelines. GitHub has GitHub Actions for continuous integration part. Gerrit, for example, is being used with Jenkins as a great combination. And of course, continuous integration is part of the developer's task quite often. The topics which will be probably covered during next videos, we will talk about Scrum and Kanban. It is a type of the organization of our work items. Since I'm planning to show you a different usage of GitLab or Gerrit plus Jenkins, I will use the help of Docker tool. If you are Windows user, then probably it is nice to have the Windows Subsystem Linux tool running and install it, because it's introducing the Linux functionality together with shell and all ecosystem inside the Windows, and you don't need to install Ubuntu on top of it. So it's a really great and handy tool. And also VSL helps us to use Windows and also use Linux tools without starting virtual machines as such. As part of the many configurations and sometimes some input data or output data, we will use YAML or JSON format. So I will try to explain what is it and how to use it. Since we will design an application, then two tools will be covered. It is Draw.io to draw diagrams, UML diagrams, or maybe some other type. Many developers love to have diagrams stored as code. So that's why we will also cover the plant UML tool. That's really great. The tool which is basically converting the specific written instructions into the diagrams. So you can store it as a code. You can write it and use it on the fly to generate the new diagrams. So let's talk about the design small application. So right now it is just a simple logic. It will just print data collected from modules. I will try to explain it in a little bit later. But the idea is just pulling some data. There is a good platform to transform this logic into something different. But in the same time, it is opening us a way to use different modules, to read data, to think about the interface and protocols, how to communicate with these modules, and etc. If it doesn't work, then of course we will redesign something. It is possible to extend the code to read data from specific sensors and then transfer it to our central server. And a little bit later, we can also, for example, replace the communication from reading the libraries to, for example, using remote procedure call or maybe some other protocols to read data. If we are talking about the preliminary work needed in Jira, it is difficult to keep track of work items on the paper quite often, because something might be changed or something might be not working and then we need to figure it out something else. Plus, as I said before, I would like to have kind of transparency and also kind of illustrate you the daily work on the Jira. So I will record some part of a daily meeting when I will explain what I have done and what I'm planning to do, and is there any blockers for that, and etc. And if I got some comments during this work, for example, some of you would like to prioritize things and it is not implemented yet, then of course I will try to react on it and maybe to reprioritize some work items. Also, I would like to show you the typical way how can we estimate work items on Jira. Of course, it is quite complicated topic, and let's take it on the separate video for this small project. I'm planning to use the Kanban board instead of the Scrum. The difference between Kanban and Scrum board will be explained in a different video, of course, since there are not so many people who will work on this project. Let's say we don't have a customer or representative of a customer as such. So there is no need for us to, for example, to use a Scrum, do sprints every 2-3 weeks and then reprioritize a backlog and filter it based on the requirements from the customer. I'm planning to introduce just a small loop, let's say. We will use the console input and output to print messages to our user and also react on the user commands. Of course, we are planning to use a library. So we will see this keyword extern C and what this is and how does it work. As a build system, we will use a CMake. Quite often the CMake is used for the C++ project. Of course, there are some other build tools might be used, for example, the Google's Bazel. But let's focus on the CMake. And then if it is needed, we can make another video about other build tools for the C++ or C. And of course, as a version control system, we will use Git again. That's quite a common tool to use, especially on the software development. Talking about the unit testing, since we are planning to use a CMake, that will be quite easier for us to integrate the Google Test as a test framework. I would like to show you also what is the Google mock, or how can you mock some of the dependencies. That will be quite interesting stuff to do. The Google Test is one of the most commonly used frameworks if we are talking about C or C++. Talking about the Git repository, Git will be used locally on the beginning. Then we will probably jump to the GitHub, because GitHub will have almost everything. It will be easier for us to set up GitHub for the repository and also for the continuous integration settings. A little bit later, I'm planning to record a video about the GitLab, Gerrit, and also Bitbucket. Then we are planning to introduce some continuous integration part to have something automatically triggering when we push, or let's call it, every new code uploaded on the GitHub. The idea is to use GitHub Actions first as a CI pipeline. And optionally, a little bit later, I will show you how to do almost the same on the GitLab pipelines, Gerrit plus Jenkins combination, because Gerrit, it is just a front end on top of the Git. That's why quite commonly Gerrit is used together with Jenkins. Jenkins, it is really great tool which is providing continuous integration and continuous delivery functionality. Basically, you can connect Jenkins to many Git front ends and then create hooks and explain what to do when a code new uploaded onto Git, or maybe some merge request created or something similar, or maybe there is some merge request to the master branch, or now it is main branch. Once we write some basic code, we write some basic tests for that, and also we upload it on the GitHub and we set up pipelines, then and only then we will redesign our application, we will update our tests, and we will write probably an interface with different versions, and then write some pluggable modules to load them into runtime. So we don't need to kind of restart an application, but we will, for example, type a command and it will be done automatically. This is a plan what will be recorded and posted on the YouTube. So I will try to refer quite often to this roadmap, and if I see that there is some changes are needed in the roadmap, then of course I will record and update the video with a new roadmap. But at least now I feel more transparent with you, and I see the clear way, or not exactly the clear way, maybe a little bit foggy in quotes, but at least I see the way forward, and I see the path that I would like to go together with you, which will not only show some piece of code and explain it that that works in this way and there is no real application of it. And of course it will have some practical usage, because it will be possible to adjust this code for example, some sensors. And also, if it is needed, you can maybe migrate some of these ideas illustrated here for your future work. That's it for this video. Please let me know in the comments what you are thinking about it. Otherwise, I hope to see you on the next video. Thank you for your time. Bye.